waters flooding in. Nobody's gonna win. The system's crashing down. We're all gonna drown. Blood on the ticker. Red across the board. Blood on the ticker. Can't afford to ignore. Markets are screaming. Everything must go. Blood on the ticker. Watch the numbers blow. Circuit breakers trigger trading. Held it twice. Risk managers are shouting. Every asset has its price. The victor's backing wildly. Fear has gripped the lands. My stop loss is triggered. Slipping through my head. The talking heads on television calling for the worst in every retail investor. Dying of financial thirst. Sell orders flooding in. Nobody's gonna win. The system's crashing down. We're all gonna drown. Blood on the ticker. Red across the board. Blood on the ticker. Can't afford to ignore. Markets are screaming. Everything must go. Blood on the ticker. Watch the numbers blow. The hedge funds are capitulating, throwing in the towel. The quant strategies are broken and the models start to howl. Redemption notices are flooding every prime brokerage desk, and every forced seller makes the situation grotesque. But somewhere in the carnage, hidden buyers start to form. The seeds of the next rally planted deep within the store. When the candles all turn red and your account is nearly dead, when the margin call comes through, there's nothing left that you can do. Panic selling fills the air. Liquidation everywhere. The market takes no prisoners today. Everything is swept away. But from the blood a phoenix grows. And only the survivors 10,000 trades per second, algorithmic load. It reads the order book in microseconds flat, and front runs every human trader, cold and clinical like that. The latency is measured now in nanoseconds, finding every human hesitation is the algo's golden mine. Humans cannot compete against this cold machine. It processes what you feel before you know it's real. Algo death machine, running in the dark. Algo death machine, tearing markets apart. No soul, no mercy, just cold calculation. Algo death machine, market domination. The quants built something monstrous in their climate-controlled room, a recursive neural network sealing traders' doom. It learns from every pattern, from every price decay, and harvest all the alpha while the humans fade away. The momentum signals feed into a reinforcement loop, and every human trying to trade just falls into the groove. Humans cannot compete against this cold machine. It processes what you feel before you know it's real. Algo death machine, running in the dark. Algo death machine, tearing markets apart. No soul, no mercy, just cold calculation. Algo death machine, market domination. The regulators tried to slow the machine's advance, but every rule they implemented gave the algo more chance. The co-location servers moved to microseconds near, and every human trader's edge completely disappeared. Now 90% of volume flows through silicon veins, and the algo death machine overall market reigns. Flash crash in a millisecond, liquidity is gone. The algo pulled its orders, and the carnage carries on. Regulators scrambling, trying to understand how silicon and code now rule the promised land. We built the machine to serve us, but the machine now rules instead. Every human trader slowly bled. The future belongs to the algorithm, and humans are just noise within the system. Algo death machine, running in the dark. Algo death machine, tearing markets apart. No soul, no mercy, just cold calculation. Algo death machine, market domination. Processing, processing, your orders fade away. Processing, processing, the machine will always stay. Processing, processing, humans obsolete. Processing, algos complete. Algo death machine. Algo death machine. Algo death machine, the coldest thing you've seen. The support broke, and the bears began to smile. The short position held for quite a while, but smart money was buying every share, and the bear only earned. They added to their shorts, believing in the chart, not knowing that the smart money was playing a different part. Short the break, and on the way down, every bear is wearing the crown. But something's wrong, the selling stops. The bear trap springs, the market pops. Bear trap, the market fakes you out. Bear trap, turn your stops to shouts. Just when you thought the bottom broke wide open. Bear trap, every short position stolen. The reversal came like lightning from a clear and cloudless sky. The stock exploded upward and the shorts began to cry. Every stop loss triggered on the way back to the top, and those who shorted breakdown found a trade they couldn't stop. The volume on the reversal dwarfed the breakdown bar, and every technical analysis had missed the hidden scar. Short the break, and on the way down, every bear is wearing the crown. But something's wrong, the selling stops. The bear trap springs, the market pops. Bear trap, the market fakes you out. Bear trap, turn your stops to shouts. Just when you thought the bottom broke wide open. Bear trap, every short position stolen. Short covering drove the price above the highs, and all the bearish targets disappeared before their eyes. The pattern that they followed was a manipulation play, and institutional buyers had been accumulating every day. Now those who shorted break down all the bag holders of shame, and those who bought the bear trap are the winners of the game. The smart money was buying as the retail traders sold. They laid the bear trap perfectly set up to behold a false breakdown. Accumulated every share they needed, and when the trap was sprung, the bears were finally defeated. False breakdowns and false breakouts are the market's oldest game, and every trader who ignores them will keep getting played the same. The bear trap is a lesson written into market DNA, and only those who recognize the setup win the day. Bear trap, the market fakes you out. Bear trap, turn your stops to shouts. Just when you thought the bottom broke wide open. Bear trap, every short position stolen. Trap, you played yourself. Put your pride on the shelf. Trap, the smart money wins. That's where it begins. Bear trap, never trust a break. Bear trap, too much was at stake. In the silence before the storm, when the models all perform, something stirs beneath the surface deep. A black swan waking from its sleep. The quants were all agreed. A Six Sigma event was something nobody need heed, but in the quiet morning, something nobody had foreseen. A single black swan rising, darkest wings you've ever seen. The correlation matrix devastation down. Contagion spreading system-wide, no asset classes spared. The interconnected fabric of the world completely snared. What started in a corner of the globe no one had watched us now consume the entire world, every portfolio botched. The safe haven currencies are crashing with the rest, and every risk model is failing every single test. The correlation's breaking down, all the safety nets have drowned. Risk parity collapsing fast, nothing built was meant to last. Black Swan rising from the depths of the unknown. Black Swan rising, seeds of chaos have been sown. Everything the models built comes crashing to the ground. Black Swan rising, bringing devastation down. The central banks are meeting in an emergency session. The G7 finance ministers address the global depression, but every policy response arrives a moment too late. And black swan markets write their own relentless cruel fate. Yeah, history showed us that from every broken world, a new financial order slowly rises and unfolds. Taleb warned us all those years ago, but certainty's a lie we tell ourselves. The fat tails hide in places we won't go. The black swan lives on probability shelves. You cannot hedge what you refuse to see. The unknown unknown set the market free, and every generation learns the hardest way. The black swans come when no one's planned or done. Black swan rising from the depths of the unknown. Black swan rising, seeds of chaos have been sown. Everything the models build comes crashing to the ground. Black swan rising, bringing devastation down. From the depths below, watch the markets go. Nobody prepared, nobody was scared. Black swan rising, black swan rising, black swan rising. Now we're all surprised. 오늘 밤 스크린들이 빨갛게 타오른다. 알고리즘들이 공포에 질려 비명을 지른다. 1000억 달러가 한순간에 사라져버렸다. 시장의 신들이 대가를 요구하고 있다. 붉은 숫자들이 화면을 타고 쏟아져 내린다. 증거금 계좌들이 불타고 있다. 내 인생 최악의 날. 포트폴리오는 제가 들었고 강세론 자들은 모두 집으로 갔다. 약세론 자들이 내 모든 것을 큰 소리로 뜯어먹고 있다. 캔들 스틱들이 모두 지지선을 뚫고 추락하고 있다. 내가 믿었던 모든 레벨들이 더 이상 아무 의미가 없다. 매도 주문들이 쏟아져 들어온다. 아무도 이길 수 없을 것이다. 있다. 해트 전략들이 무너지고 모델들이 울부짖기 시작한다. 험한 통보서들이 모두 프라임 브로커리지 책상에 쏟아지고 있다. 모든 강제 매도자들이 상황을 더 기괴하게 만든다. 하지만 그 혼란 속 어딘가에 숨겨진 매수자들이 형성되기 시작한다. 다음 달리의 씨앗이 폭풍 깊은 곳에 뿌려지고 있다.
모든 길들이 빨갛게 변할때 당신의 계속하고 이 바닥을 뚫어낼때
마진 콜이 날아들 때 당신이 할 수 있는 것은 아무것도 없다. 공황 매도가 공기를 가득 채우고 강제 청산이 모든 곳에서 일어난다. 시장은 오늘 포로를 잡지 않는다. 모든 것이 쓸려나간다. 하지만 그 피 속에서 불사조가 자라나고 살아남은 자만이 그 비밀을 안다.
딩거 위에 피
모든 보드가 빨갛게 물들었다.
딩거 위에 피
무시할 여유가 없다. 시장이 비명을 지르고 있다. 모든 것을 처분해야 한다.
딩거 위에 피
숫자들이 폭발하는 걸 봐라.
빨강
모든 것이 빨갛다. 시장은 모든 희망이 사라질 때까지 피를 흘린다.
빨강
하지만 그제 속에서 솟아오른다.
다음 강세장에
눈을 뜨기 시작한다.
딩거 위에 피
티커 위에 피, 티커 위에 피, 이제 그만.
나다 대가 no more
From the ashes of the bear market crave, from the depths of capitulation's cave, a heartbeat stirs beneath the frozen ground. The first green candle making not a sound. The darkest night has finally reached its final hours. The bear market that crushed us all has lost its crushing powers. From the ashes of the cellar, from the depths of deep despair, a new bull market's dawning. There is gold within the air. The breath indicators turning, and the advanced decline line is showing that the market's health is finally feeling fine. The sentiment has bottomed. The fear has reached its peak. The contrarian signal sounding for those who dare to seek.
Dawn of the bull
Rising from the ashes,
Dawn of the bull
breaking through the crashes. From the lowest lows, a new chapter will begin.
Dawn of the bull
We will rise again. The money on the sideline starts to find its way back in. The institutions and the retail armies start to win. The breath expanding, leadership emerging strong and clear. The dawn of a new bull market finally is here. The moving averages are curling upward from below, and every technical indicator is putting on a show. The sentiment has bottomed. The fear has reached its peak. The contrarian signal sounding for those who dare to seek. To everyone who bought when others gave up all their rights, to every diamond hand and every patient soul, your time has finally come to make the broken market whole. The cycle always turns from winter back to spring, and those who planted seeds in darkness hear the market sing. The fear and greed index has flipped from total fear to cautious optimism as the new bull becomes clear.
Dawn of the bull.
Rising from the ashes,
Dawn of the bull.
breaking through the crashes. From the lowest lows, a new chapter will begin. Dawn of the bull, we will rise again.
Rising, rising.
From the depths of night,
Rising, rising.
into morning light.
Rising, rising.
The bull is born again.
Rising, rising.
The end of all the pain.
Dawn of the bull.
Dawn of the bull.
Dawn of the bull.
The market's beautiful, rising from the ashes,
Dawn of the bull.
breaking through the crashes. 69,000 and the bulls were singing. Every paper hand their profits bringing. But the winter came and brought the crash, and only diamond hands survived the lash. They laughed when I bought it 69,000 high. They said I was a fool and that the dream would surely die. It fell to 30,000 and they said to cut my loss. But I knew the value and I wasn't gonna cross. The midnight flood was everywhere and sentiment was black. But diamond hands don't sell into bearish attack.
Through the fun and through the fear, through another brutal year,
My conviction never wavers. Diamond hands never falters.
diamond hands of steel.
Never gonna break.
Diamond hands of steel.
More than I can take. I'll hold through every storm and every dark despair.
Diamond hands of steel.
I'll always be there. From 69 to 15, then to 20, back to 10. Every capitulation was a chance to buy again. While the paper hands were folding and the weak were running scared, the diamond hands kept holding because they really cared. The on-chain metric showed accumulation never ceased, and every dip provided by the bears became a feast.
Through the fun and through the fear, through another brutal year,
My conviction never wavers. Diamond hands never falters.
diamond hands of steel.
Never gonna break.
Diamond hands of steel.
More than I can take. I'll hold through every storm and every dark despair.
Diamond hands of steel.
I'll always be there. 2 years of darkness and the cycle turned around. The institutional adoption made a glorious sound. 100,000, then 150, then 200 high, and every diamond hand was now touching the sky. The paper hands were buying back at 10 times what they sold, and every diamond holder counted all their gold. descends. When all the analyst consensus bends, the whisper numbers flow through trading floors, and earnings season opens up its doors. The whisper number was a million higher than the streets. The options market price perfection, no room for defeat. The stock had run up 40 points on anticipated gains, but one small earnings missed unleashed financial hurricane. The revenue came in light by just a fraction of a percent, and 30 points of market cap went instantly unspent. After hours trading opens red, every option trader bled. 30% gap down at open, every bullish thesis broken. Earnings season massacre, blood across the tape. Earnings season massacre, there is no escape. Missed by just one penny and the whole world burns. Earnings season massacre, nobody learns. The CFO was cautious with the forward guidance range, and Wall Street took that caution as extremely deeply strange. The sell side cut their ratings, price targets all revised, and retail holders waking up completely shocked and surprised. The conference call was brutal as the analyst attacked, and every answer from the CEO left confidence cracked. After hours trading opens red, every option trader bled. 30% gap down at open, every bullish thesis broken. Earnings season massacre, blood across the tape. Earnings season massacre, there is no escape. Missed by just one penny and the whole world burns. Earnings season massacre, nobody learns. The options that were purchased as the earnings hedge are now completely worthless, sitting on the ledge. The implied volatility collapsed the moment numbers dropped, and every premium paid for protection had been shopped. But deep within the wreckage of the earnings day disaster, the value investors circle like they've never moved faster. 4 times a year, the reckoning comes for every single stock beneath the sun. The models and the estimates all fail as management reality tells a different tale. Buy the rumor, sell the news, they say, but selling 30% in a day, that's not a trade strategy, that's a massacre. And earnings season always takes its terrible fee from every trader who forgot volatility. Earnings season massacre, blood across the tape. Earnings season massacre, there is no escape. Missed by just one penny and the whole world burns. Earnings season massacre, nobody learns. The estimates are wrong, the bears were right all along. Guidance cuts the soul, earnings take their toll. Earnings season massacre, earnings season massacre, earnings season massacre, nobody escapes at all. Everything is great, the portfolio is fat, the VIX is sleeping. Imagine that. The talking heads are bullish, every single one.
in, and everyone around me thinks that bulls will always win. The leverage is expanding and the margin debt is high, and every financial influencer is telling me to buy. But somewhere deep inside my chest a warning starts to grow, a voice that says enjoy it now before the winds of change blow. Ride the wave but watch the horizon, feel the joy but keep your eyes wide. Every party has its morning after, but tonight we celebrate with pride. Enjoy the bull while the green candles burn. Enjoy the bull, every dollar we earn, but hedge your positions and keep some powder dry. Enjoy the bull before we say goodbye. The correction is coming, but not today, my friend. Enjoy the bull right until the end. The P/E ratio stretching past the point of no return, but dividends are flowing and the bonuses we earn. The taxi drivers giving stock tips once again tonight, and shoeshine boys with alpha signals burning so bright. The IPO pipeline is bursting at its golden seam, and every SPAC in crypto coin is living out its dream. But history is whispering the words we need to hear, that every bull market plants the seeds of the next fear. Enjoy the bull while the green candles burn. Enjoy the bull, every dollar we earn, but hedge your positions and keep some powder dry. Enjoy the bull before we say goodbye. The correction is coming, but not today, my friend. Enjoy the bull right until the end. The Warren Buffett cash pile reaching record highs, and smart money is hedging underneath our very eyes. The insiders are selling while the retail army buys, and valuation stretching toward the never-ending skies. But we are not afraid because we have our plan in place. Some puts for protection and some cash to win the race. So when the correction finally arrives, we will not cry. We bought the dip and held the line and watched our profits fly. Take profits at the highs and buy again when low. This is the cycle of the market that we need to know. Be fearful when they're greedy, be greedy when they fear. The correction is not the end but the beginning of a year. So raise your drinks and celebrate the gains we made today, but keep your stop losses ready for the inevitable day. When every bull market peak becomes the bear's domain, and those prepared will buy the blood and do it all again. Buy the dip. Buy the dip. Buy the dip. Enjoy the bull while the green candles burn. Enjoy the bull, every dollar we earn, but hedge your positions and keep some powder dry. Enjoy the bull before we say goodbye. The correction is coming, but not today, my friend. Enjoy the bull right until the end. Green, green, everything is green. The greatest bull market the world has ever seen. Green, green, but we know the score. The correction waits behind the next closed door. Enjoy the bull, enjoy the bull, enjoy the bull until it's time to sell. Buy the dip, and we will all be fine when the markets fail. Enjoy the bull, enjoy the bull, enjoy the bull.
When borders close and cannons roar, the markets bleed from shore to shore. No model built A shot fired in a distant land sent shockwaves through the earth. The oil price is spiking before anyone knows its worth. Safe haven assets surging while risk assets bleed and fall. One geopolitical crisis threatening to swallow all. The currency is crashing in the nation under siege, and every global supply chain seeking some relief. Correlation shifting overnight. Every model wrong in black and white. Supply chains breaking at the seam. Nothing left is what it used to seem. Geopolitical storm tearing through the markets. Geopolitical storm breaking all the circuits. When nations rage and borders burn, the whole financial world must turn. Geopolitical storm. The sanctions and the seizures open up an ancient score, and everything connected in the global trade machine begins to shake and fracture at the seams beneath the screen. The commodity markets exploding as the trade routes close, and every energy-dependent economy knows the geopolitical premium is here and here to stay. Correlation shifting overnight. Every model wrong in black and white. Supply chains breaking at the seam. Nothing left is what it used to seem. Geopolitical storm tearing through the markets. Geopolitical storm breaking all the circuits. When nations rage and borders burn, the whole financial world must turn. Geopolitical storm. 6 months of conflict and the markets find their floor. The commodity super cycle opens up a door. Defense contracts are surging as the budgets all expand, and every nation realizes peace requires a steady hand. But those who bought the panic when the bombs began to fall discover geopolitical storms can be the greatest call. We thought that globalization meant the end of war. We thought that trade connections made conflict ignore. But history has other plans, and empires always fall. And when the guns start firing, finance pays for all. The petrodollar crumbling, the reserve currency at stake. Every portfolio bleeding in the path of history's wake. And those who understand the cycle of the geopolitical turn will always find the opportunity within the thing that burns.
then the price exploded past the highs and started a new trend. The ones who sold at 30 were buying back at 90, and all the paper hands looked anything but sprightly. The iron hands were laughing as the price went to the moon, and everyone who held so long was finally in tune. Months turned into years of holding in the dark, the candles barely flickering, a barely glowing spark. But patience is a weapon that the weak will never wield, and those who hold their iron hand shall never have to yield. The market tests your conviction every single day, and only iron hands will make the demons go away. Iron hands never letting go. Iron hands through the highs and lows. When the world is screaming sell, iron hands I'll hold through hell. Iron hands I held when they said let go. I held through the vertigo. I held and now I'm here. I held through every fear. Iron hands, iron hands forever strong. Iron hands, iron hands all along.
When the bid side disappears at dawn, and the market makers all have gone, when the spread becomes a canyon wide,
There is nowhere left for bulls to hide.
the bid side disappeared at dawn without a single warning. The ash spread blew to 20% on a Tuesday morning. No buyers left to take the other side of any trade. The entire system frozen like a dark financial shade. The order books are empty where the death was just before, and every market participant is running for the door. Market makers stepping back, liquidity under attack. Spreads are blowing out to what? Nowhere left for balls to hide.
Liquidity crisis.
The market's gone dry.
Liquidity crisis.
Watch the spreads fly. Every trade you try to make is slipping through your hands.
Liquidity crisis.
Nobody understands. The repo market seizing overnight, rates spiked to 10. The system that was built on trust has fallen once again. Prime brokers cut their credit lines, the dominoes all fall, and everyone discovers there's no liquidity at all. The bid-ask spread on treasuries has blown to 50 cents, and every institutional investor running for the fence.
Market makers stepping back.
Liquidity under attack.
Spreads are blowing out to what?
Nowhere left for balls to hide.
Liquidity crisis.
leverage was a ladder to the sky. The leverage was the reason I would cry. At midnight when the broker comes to call, the leverage trader always has to fall. Turned out horribly wrong. I doubled down at every dip, believing in the play, but every dip kept dipping and the losses wouldn't stay. Account equity approaching zero. There's no chance to be a hero. The broker wants his money now. I have to liquidate somehow. Margin call at midnight. Voices in my head. Margin call at midnight. All my funds are bled. Positions closing forcefully. I watch it all unwind. Margin call at midnight, leaving me behind. I stare into the darkness as my portfolio dies. Each liquidation notice fills my ears with tortured cries. The leverage position that I thought would make me rich has thrown me from the mountain straight into the ditch. The risk reward that seemed so favorable last week now shows the ugly truth of what the leverage freaks. Account equity approaching zero. There's no chance to be a hero. The broker wants his money now. I have to liquidate somehow. Margin call at midnight. Voices in my head. Margin call at midnight. All my funds are bled. Positions closing forcefully. I watch it all unwind. Margin call at midnight, leaving me behind. By 4 a.m. the accounters hit the floor. Maintenance margin breached and I can trade no more. The forced liquidation sells everything at worst, and now I'm sitting here consumed by financial thirst. But somewhere in the lesson of this devastating night, I learned that discipline and risk will set the trader right. I should have set the stop loss. I should have known the risk. I should have read the warning signs. I was too cavalier. Now everything is taken in the cold dark hours. Margin calls don't care about your plans or hopeful powers. The leverage giveth and the leverage taketh all. And every over-leveraged trader faces midnight's and told the world that everything was good. But leverage always calls its dead back home, and every bankrupt kingdom falls alone. They built their towers higher than the clouds could ever reach, with borrowed money, broken dreams, and promises of each. The leverage ratio was 50, maybe more, until the tide went out and showed what all the debt was for. The balance sheet was fiction and the auditors were blind, and every red flag buried deep within the footnote line. The kingdom built on credit falls as margin calls ring through the halls. The auditors find nothing there but fabricated numbers and despair. The bankrupt kingdom crumbles to the ground. The bankrupt kingdom, nowhere to be found. All the glory, all the power, all the wealth. The bankrupt kingdom, destroyer of itself. The CEO was selling shares while telling everyone to buy. The CFO was cooking books until the alibi ran dry. The regulators finally came with subpoenas in their hands, and everything that once seemed solid turned to dust and burning sand. The employees lost their pensions and their stock options too, and every retail investor left wondering what to do. The kingdom built on credit falls as margin calls ring through the halls. The auditors find nothing there but fabricated numbers and despair. The bankrupt kingdom crumbles to the ground. The bankrupt kingdom, nowhere to be found. All the glory, all the power, all the wealth. The bankrupt kingdom, destroyer of itself. The bankruptcy proceedings dragged for 17 more months, while lawyers billed at thousands and the creditors took the punts. The executives collected bonuses before the chapter filing and left the stakeholders with nothing but the trial. But somewhere in the rubble of the empire's final fall, the lesson echoes loudly down the regulatory hall. From Enron to Lehman to FTX, they fall. Every empire built on greed must face the final call. The shareholders are left with worthless paper in their hands, while executives escape to other distant lands. Greed is always calling, leverage always grows, and every bankrupt kingdom ends the
jacks and hold the bankers meet. The fate of trillions in their seat. One word from Powell breaks the spell, and leverage markets fall to hell. They gather in the marble halls, the men who move the world. With every word they utter, market fakes are coldly hurled. The chairman takes the podium, the cameras start to roll, and every trader on the planet gives away their soul. The dot plot shifts a quarter point and bonds begin to crash, and every risk asset in the world burns down to ash. 25 or 50 basis points, the market holds its breath. One wrong word from Powell's lips could mean financial death. The Fed is coming, rates are gonna rise. The Fed is coming, don't be surprised. Liquidity trading from every market vein. The Fed is coming, and nothing's the same. QT is tightening the screws on every leverage bet. The yield curve twisting violently, a trap that has been set. The duration risk is rising as the bond prices fall, and everything that's built on cheap money hits the wall. The mortgage market freezing as the 30-year spikes high, and every real estate investor watching dreams go by. 25 or 50 basis points, the market holds its breath. One wrong word from Powell's lips could mean financial death. The Fed is coming, rates are gonna rise. The Fed is coming, don't be surprised. Liquidity draining from every market vein. The Fed is coming, and nothing's the same. 400 basis points of hike and crush the easy dreams, and everything that borrowed cheap is bursting at its seams. The startup valuations crashing back to planet Earth, and every SPAC and meme stock rediscovers what it's worth. But deep within the tightening cycle lies a pivot seed, and when the Fed reverses course, the bulls will finally transitory, they said it was only transitory, but inflation kept on burning, rewriting the story. Now the medicine is bitter and the patient wants to scream as the Fed destroys the fiction of the easy money dream. The punch bowl has been taken and the party now must end, and every asset bubble has a final painful nothing's the same. Higher, higher. Rates will always rise. Higher, higher. Until the market dies. Higher, higher. Then the pivot comes. Higher, higher. When the Fed succumbs, the Fed is coming. The Fed is coming. The Fed is coming for everything you own.
perfect, how could anything go bad? The first hour was profitable, the position looking great. I added to the winner thinking this would be my fate. Initial position looking good, everything working like it should. But then the market turns against, and leverage becomes your nemesis. The leverage trap is springing shut. The leverage trap has cut you cut. One bad move and everything cascades. The leverage trap, the death that never fades. The trade moved 1% against me, just a small retreat. But leverage 10 times over, it was total defeat. The broker sent the margin call before I could react, and 30 seconds later my position was attacked. I tried to add more margin, but the well had run completely dry, and every forced sell order was a leverage trader's cry. Initial position looking good, everything working like it should. But then the market turns against, and leverage becomes your nemesis. The leverage trap is springing shut. The leverage trap has cut you cut. One bad move and everything cascades. The leverage trap, the death that never fades. By close of trading, everything I had was liquidated flat. The account that took me years to build was wiped out just like that. The broker's risk engine had no mercy for my cause, and leverage is a machine that operates without a pause. But somewhere in the rubble of this devastating loss, I learned the most important rule of who is really boss. Icarus flew too close to the financial sun, with borrowed wings of leverage, thinking he had won. But every point of leverage cuts both ways in the end, and what the market giveth, it will swiftly come to rend. Never is more than you can afford to lose. The leverage trap will always come to collect its dues. Position size and risk management are the trader's holy law, and breaking them with leverage is the market's fatal flaw. The leverage trap is springing shut. The leverage trap has cut you cut. One bad move and everything cascades. The leverage trap, the death that never fades. Liquidated, nothing left to show. Liquidated, low to high to low. Liquidated, learn the hardest way. Liquidated, margin at its turn. The leverage trap, the leverage trap, the leverage trap, never going back. By the dip they said the shorts are wrong. The squeeze is coming and it won't be long. 10 million shares sold short against the float. The retail army ready on the vote. They shorted everything, they thought the stock was dead. Borrowed every share they could and sold it all instead. But something strange was brewing in the depths of Reddit land. The retail army mobilized with money close at hand. They bought the calls in thousands, they bought the stock in droves, and every share Shorts are buying back their shares, reaching for the sky. Every cover order pushes prices ever higher still. The feedback loop is vicious and it's giving me a thrill. The hedge fund on the TV, crying manipulation, but the squeeze was born from their own short capitulation. Beneath the surface of the market deep, the Leviathan has stirred from sleep. $1 billion ready to deploy, and thin order books are now the toy. Waiting for a single spark, then something massive hit the tape and liquidity was gone. The whale had woken from its sleep and started moving on. The market impact radiated outward like a wave, and every algo in the market tried to misbehave. Price impact, massive spreads explode. The whale is carrying its load. Nobody knows which way it's going, but the market winds are strongly showing fails, and every market participant felt the institutional thrill. Price impact, massive spreads explode. The whale is carrying its load. Nobody knows which way it's going, but the market winds are strongly blowing. The whale awakens, markets start to shake. The whale awakens, every order breaks. $1 billion buy order hits the thin exchange. The whale awakens, nothing stays the same. Woo! Nothing stays the same. By end of session, the position had been built in full, and the whale retreated, leaving markets in a lull. But every trader knew the game had fundamentally changed, and all the prior levels had been comprehensively rearranged. The smart money had spoken, and the direction now was clear, and following the whale was the trade of the year. In the ocean of the markets swim the Leviathans, the sovereign wealth funds, the pension gods, the endowments with their $1 billion plans. When whales move, the minnows implied vol was climbing and the premiums were great. I paid $300 for the right to win both ways, but nobody prepared me for what options math conveys. The data was eroding $30 every day, and 2 weeks of decay had eaten half my play. Earnings coming in at close, IV at its highest dose, waiting for the move to happen, but the vol crash leaves me sad. Volatility crush, my premium is gone. Volatility crush, the decay goes on. The stock moved 5%, but my options lost their soul. Volatility crush, taking its cruel toll. The earnings came in perfect, the guidance was a beat. The stock moved up $5, which should be a treat, but every option I had purchased bled out value fast. The implied volatility collapsed and nothing seemed to last. The Vega exposure that I thought would be my friend became the crushing villain right around the bend. Earnings coming in at close, IV at its highest dose, waiting for the move to happen, but the vol crush leaves me sad. Volatility crush, my premium is gone. Volatility crush, the decay goes on. The stock moved 5%, but my options lost their soul. Volatility crush, taking its cruel toll. Taking its cruel toll. $200 loss on a $300 trade. The move was there, but volatility's price was paid. I needed 15% to break even on the play, but 5% was all the stock was going to display. The market maker sold me vol at 45 implied, and realized fall of 22 was all that it supplied. Data was always eating at the edges of my trade, and Vega was the weapon by which all my gains were slayed. I paid for uncertainty, and certainty arrived, and all the premium I purchased barely survived. The Greeks are not your friends when earnings season ends. Volatility crush is how your option journey bends. The IV rank and IV percentile tell the true story, and buying high IV into earnings is never glory. Volatility crush, my premium is gone. Volatility crush, the decay goes on. The stock moved 5%, but my options lost their soul. Volatility crush, taking its cruel toll. The IV falls apart, bleeding from the start. Vega was the light, data makes me cry. Volatility crush, volatility crush, volatility crush. Options turn to dust. The opening bell rings across the floor. 6 billion shares to trade and so much more. The wolf awakes and scans the morning prey. No sentiment will get in the wolf's way. p.m. before the opening bell. I know exactly what I want and I know how to sell. My Bloomberg terminal is glowing with 1,000 trades to make. I eat the weak and feed the strong, that's all that it will take. The level 2 is showing me exactly where to strike, and every inefficiency is something that I like.
No mercy for the hesitant, no quarter for the ignorant.
I move the markets with my will, the thrill of conquest. I get my fill.
Wolf of the exchange,
I'm running with the pack.
wolf of the exchange.
There is no looking back. Buying low and selling high, that's how I dominate.
Wolf of the exchange.
I control my fate. Block trades moving millions while the tourists chase the price. I'm 3 steps ahead, already executing to be precise. The bid and ask for weapons, and I wield them without shame. In this financial jungle, I'm the one who plays the game. The dark pool orders hidden from the public's prying eyes, and every iceberg order is a wolf in a disguise.
No mercy for the hesitant, no quarter for the ignorant.
I move the markets with my will, the thrill of conquest. I get my fill.
Wolf of the exchange,
I'm running with the pack.
wolf of the exchange.
There is no looking back. Buying low and selling high, that's how I dominate.
Wolf of the exchange.
I control my fate. By noon I've made my target and the afternoon is gravy. The P&L is gleaming and the risk book isn't wavy. I cut the losers quickly and I ride the winners long, and every trade that I put on is purposeful and strong. The other traders fear me when they see my orders drop, because the wolf of the exchange knows when to run and stop. They call me predatory, they say I'm cold and cruel, but sentiment is weak.